My name is Arden. I'm 36. And for most of my life, I believe relationships die quietly. Not suddenly, slowly, in the little things you choose not to notice. Looking back, the signs were everywhere. Jokes that didn't feel like jokes. Distance disguised as space. Moments that should have bothered me but didn't because I didn't want them to. But the night everything finally cracked open, I never saw it coming. Leah and I had been together 8 years, married for 5. People described us as solid, stable, safe. Maybe that was exactly the problem. Safe can become stagnant. Stagnant can become cold. And cold can turn into something you convince yourself is normal. It all started at her sister Saren's annual summer party. Saren is the kind of woman who walks into a room, and every conversation shifts toward her. Loud, bright, unpredictable. The human version of fireworks. I'd always found her fun in a harmless way, even if she made Leah roll her eyes nonstop. The night was warm, fairy lights everywhere, the smell of grilled food drifting over the backyard. Leah drifted off to mingle with her friends without so much as the usual squeeze of my hand. Something about it felt wrong, but I stayed quiet like I always did. About an hour in, someone suggested truth or shock, truth or a shot of something that could strip paint. Leah joined instantly. I followed, mostly because saying no felt like stepping out of my own marriage. The questions started silly. Worst haircut, first heartbreak, embarrassing moments. Then someone turned to Leah. What's one thing about your relationship that would surprise everyone? People were expecting something cute, maybe a playful jab at me. Instead, she smirked at the whole circle and said loud and clear, "I open up our marriage." The group howled. They took it as a wild party joke, edgy, bold, hilarious. Everyone except me. Because Leah used the exact same tone she always used when she said something she wanted to pretend was just a joke later, when she asked for more space, when she started spending weekends alone, when she said she wanted to rediscover herself. My stomach dropped. People were cheering, teasing, making comments about modern relationships. But she didn't look at me once. Not a wink, not a smile, not even a glance to say, "I'm kidding." She just lifted her drink and shrugged. The bottle spun for the next question and landed on me. If you had to kiss someone here, who would it be? People laughed. I didn't. I couldn't. I was still frozen in that moment. He's in shock, someone joked. Lighten up, man, another said. Leah added without looking at me. He takes everything too seriously. The way she said it felt like a slap. And that's when Saren, bright, bold, chaotic Saren, stepped forward. Before I could react, she leaned in and kissed me. Not an accident. Not a drunk slip. Deliberate. Then, close enough that only I, and maybe a few stunned onlookers, could hear, she whispered, "Great. Now you're my boyfriend." The yard exploded in laughter. But for the first time that night, Leah finally looked at me. Not jealous. Not shocked. Not hurt. Annoyed, as if I had ruined her moment. The party blurred after that. People danced, laughed, talked, and I drifted through it like a ghost. Eventually, I slipped inside for air. The house was dim, quiet. I barely took 2 steps down the hallway when someone caught my wrist. Saren. She leaned against the wall, studying me with a small, knowing smile. "You look like a man who walked out of a tornado. What was that outside?" I asked. "A kiss," she said simply. "You look like you needed one." "That's not funny," I muttered. Neither is what Leah said. Her tone shifted. Softer, steady, very unlike her usual teasing self. She meant it, Arden. She just wanted the crowd to laugh, so she didn't have to deal with what she's been wanting for a while. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. We both knew she was right. Before I could speak, Leah's voice cut through the hallway. "Arden." She stood at the end of the hall, eyes sharp, jaw tight. "Can we talk?" "Alone." Saren stepped aside with a quiet scoff. In the guest room, Leah crossed her arms. "What was that outside?" she demanded. I stared at her. "You're asking me that?" "It was a joke," she snapped. "Why do you take everything literally?" "Because you never signal when you're joking anymore." I said. "You say things you want, but hide them behind laughter." She looked away. And Saren kissing you? You didn't stop her. I didn't even know she was going to. That's not the point, she cut in coldly. Everyone saw. Something in me finally cracked. Everyone also heard what you said. Silence. For a moment, something shifted in her eyes. Not softness, but calculation. The look she wore when she realized she might lose control of the narrative. We can fix this, she said quickly. Just don't make a big deal out tonight. No, I said quietly. We can't fix something you won't admit is broken. I walked to the door. I'm going home. So you're choosing her? She snapped. I'm choosing myself. I stepped out. Leia stayed behind. In the hallway, Saren was still there, arms crossed, watching me with something like sympathy. Leaving? She asked softly. Yeah. She nodded once. Good. As the cool night air hit me, something finally became clear. It wasn't the kiss that changed everything. It was realizing it was the first time in years that someone had treated my feelings like they mattered,